150 times while I was governor. I had an interview today with NPR, All Things Considered. And okay, so you're a libertarian. You ride a motorcycle? I know where this is going. Yeah, I ride a motorcycle. You wear a helmet? Yeah, I wear a helmet. But here's what I had to say about helmets when I was governor of New Mexico. I said, you should wear a helmet when you ride a motorcycle. You should wear protective clothing when you wear a motorcycle. But I'm not going to sign legislation requiring helmets because New Mexico, along with all the other states, have organ donor shortages. And if I sign this legislation, there's going to be unintended consequence that goes along with it. NPR asked, okay, if you're in the torture chamber and they've got you on the stretch machine and they're stretching you and they're going to kill you, you're going to die unless you reveal that you're going to vote for either Obama or Romney.
Corporatist.
Who are you going to vote for, given those circumstances?
Death.
Well, I've climbed Mount Everest, and I think you want somebody that can hunker down and do what it takes. So take the following to the bank. I would die. So why is it that the libertarian movement is growing as it is? And it is growing. It's because it's cool to be a libertarian. Back to NPR. Explain to me what it is to be a libertarian. Well, I think that the majority of Americans are fiscally responsible and socially tolerant. And I fall in that category, and I think libertarians fall in that category. So imagine a libertarian imagine the Libertarian Party as taking the best from both the Democrats and the Republicans. Democrats, historically, have been about civil liberties. That's the draw to the Democrat Party. But you know what? They haven't been too good on civil liberties lately. And when it comes to dollars and cents, fiscal responsibility, I think it's about a 0. Well, Republicans, historically, what they've been good about is dollars and cents, balancing the federal budget. But they haven't done too good with that lately, and they're a 0 when it comes to civil liberties. So how about combining the best of both parties, being really, really fiscally responsible and being really, really socially tolerant? That's the Libertarian Party. Imagine a Libertarian president challenging a Democrat Congress to, let's have some legislation when it comes to marriage equality. Let's get out of Afghanistan now. Let's slash military spending now. Let's reform our drug laws. Let's repeal the death penalty. Come on, Democrats, let's do it. Republicans, come on, let's get some starch. Really, let's cut spending. Let's save the country. The country is really in deep trouble. Really. We are on the verge of a collapse. We cannot escape the mathematics of continuing to borrow and spend 43 cents out of every dollar. Can't do it. So we need to balance the federal budget now. When it comes to jobs, I think it's abolishing the IRS. I think it's abolishing income tax, corporate tax. That's jobs. So I want to thank all of you for the opportunity to be the libertarian spokesman in all of this. And I've always viewed this, I've always viewed myself as a messenger. I will share with you the fact that about 3 months ago, I was at the Florida Libertarian State Convention. And at the Florida Libertarian State Convention, I went and I manned the Libertarian booth at the State Fair. And I bought a Libertarian t-shirt to wear behind the booth. Confession, I have never worn a Republican t-shirt in my life. And the reason is there is Republican dogma that I just can't defend, and I never have defended, and I don't want to be put in a position to have to do that. So for me, this is coming out of the closet. I want you to know that the investment that you should make in me is very reciprocal. If this ends up the way I think that it might, this is an investment that I would like to make going forward to 2016. And by the way, I would not be doing this if I didn't think there was the chance to win. And here's how that scenario works. Because that scenario works by polling at 15% against Obama and Romney and being in the national debates. If that happens, anything is possible. And right now, I don't know if you're aware of it, but I am polling at around 8% against Obama and Romney. I think it has more to do with the fact that I'm the third name, not necessarily Gary Johnson. But the upside of this is about 75% of the country doesn't know who I am, and so 75% of the country really doesn't know what it is to be a libertarian. So there is some huge opportunity here when 80% of Americans are saying that they would consider voting for a third-party candidate. This is big, big opportunity. This is a chance for all of us to change the world. And then another pivotal event that will be coming up is Ron Paul. Ron Paul, I am a Ron Paul supporter. All right? Ron Paul asked me for my endorsement in 2008. I readily gave that endorsement. When I dropped out of the Republican Party, I asked everyone that was going to support me to support Ron Paul. As much as I would like to see him win the Republican nomination, I don't think he's going to. That is going to come to an end, and pivotal to this entire equation is getting those Ron Paul supporters. And I don't think it's a matter of getting them. I don't think that this is a less of an alternative at all, that it's a very, very viable alternative. And as opposed to trying to convert Republicans that are libertarian-leaning, I think there's going to be an en masse movement away from the Republican Party into the Libertarian Party. And for the right reasons. I recognize that I am not the Libertarian nominee. I hope to be, and of course that happens on Saturday. And I also recognize that the Libertarian Party, that all of you choose the vice presidential candidate. But I am offering up a suggestion. And that suggestion, I think, is somebody who has impressed me since I first met him in the year 2000. And the dozen times that I have been with him personally since then, I have been impressed. And I hope, I know that many of you know who I'm talking about and are impressed, but if you've never heard or heard him speak, I want to now introduce Judge Jim Gray, who I think the notion of being one heartbeat away from the presidency, I do take it very, very seriously that we're in this to win, and I do that, and I make this suggestion because this is the best guy when it comes to the other half of the ticket. for that winning formula. Jim Gray.
I first heard of Gary Johnson while he was a sitting governor of the state of New Mexico. When he, during the time in which so many governors were speaking nonsense with regard to this idiot war on drugs that we have, and other governors who actually knew the truth were keeping silent. And this man not only understood that issue and so many more, but actually had the fortitude and the courage to stand up and talk about it and take action. This is a man of courage. This is a man of principle. This is a man who represents what we as libertarians stand for, believe, eat and breathe, and would do. And so I actually wrote a book as a sitting judge. It was published in 2001, called Why Our Drug Laws Have Failed and What We Can Do About It, a judicial indictment of the war on drugs. It's the longest book title I can remember. If you get through the title, you know what I'm talking about. And this man, as a sitting governor, Republican governor of New Mexico, endorsed my book, along with, by the way, that flaming liberal called George Shultz, the former Secretary of State of the Reagan administration, Milton Friedman, who was my individual hero, and Walter Cronkite. Governor Gary Johnson. When I heard that he was running for president, I contacted him. I was quoted publicly, accurately, as saying, "This man is the most qualified person in the United States of America to be president of our country that I know of." A successful Republican governor in a Democratic state actually repealed more of these spending laws than all other governors combined. What do you think about that? Would you be proud to serve with a man of this kind? And so when he asked me, when he did me the honor of saying, "Will you join me as my running mate?" what am I going to say? He's the only person that I know of that I would say yes. And the answer is, I am proud, and the answer is yes. I've been out there publicly, John Stossel, all the rest of this stuff, with regard to drug policy. And you know my views with regard to it, and so many others do. And so what's going to happen? If I am his running mate and you do me the honor of nominating me to be Vice President of the United States to run with Governor Johnson, we're going to be a one-issue ticket. That's the criticism. And you know something? They're absolutely right. We're going to be a one-issue candidacy. And the issue is, shall we bring back prosperity, civil liberties, justice, and equality for all in our country? That is our issue, and that's what we run on. A choice. They are hungry for a viable choice instead of having to vote for Obama or Romney. Okay, I admit it. I was a Republican lifelong until the passage of the so-called Patriot Act. And at that point, I could not be a part of any type of organization that would condone, much less assist, this direct frontal assault on our civil liberties. No. The answer is no. Did you ever think in your life that we in the United States of America would debate whether or not we should torture people in our custody? The answer is no. That is not what we do. That is not what we stand for. And Governor Johnson is the only presidential candidate running that stands for that decision. And I am proud to be his running mate. And so should you. I was on a panel with Governor Johnson about 2 years ago at Freedom Fest, and you know what that is. It's a libertarian principled group where we celebrate the principles of libertarianism here actually in Las Vegas every July. And we were talking about education. And he again showed that he understands this issue. Bring competition back to our educational system, and I guarantee we will have excellence again in our educational system. And the question